What's up, everyone? You're watching Cannell Games here with another episode of Football Manager 2017. We've had 3 more matches since our exit from the Tester Challenge Cup against Heath Rangers, and we've actually done pretty well in the league so far. You can see against Ringmer, we were 2-0 victors at home with Lee Parsons and McDodds, so not the same goal scorers. Well, basically, it wasn't Ryan Salmon scoring all of our goals, which was nice to see. This one, we didn't dominate all the possession, but we actually had more chances. So hopefully some of the changes that I've made to the tactics, which I'm about to show you, worked out in our favor, and we can sort of build going forward. Against Ashurst Wood, our second matchup against them this season, we drew 1-1. Gave away a penalty just before the end of the first half, but McDodds scored another goal. That's 2 in 2 games, and again, fairly similar stats in terms of possession and shots, chances created. We did have our fair share of yellows, but hopefully they won't all accrue at the same pace, and we won't be left with some selection issues moving forward. Our final game against Maresfield Village, our third matchup against this club, we're able to win 4-0 on the road. Very impressive performance by the entire team. Here you can see we dominated possession, 61%. I didn't really change our tactics from the 2 prior games. It just seemed like they just had a great day, and that's sometimes how it goes with Football Manager. But you can see Ryan Salmon with 2 goals and an assist, a 9.4 rating. McDodds with 2 assists with an 8.4 rating. He's really hitting his stride and having great form. Ryan Brown scored a fairly embarrassing own goal in the second minute, and we were sort of off to the races at that point. We were up 3-0 at halftime, and then Leroy Jennings, our newish signing, not our newest, and I'll get to the newest one in a second, Leroy Jennings scored his first goal of the season to cap off a 4-0 victory here. So changes since we last spoke. One more transfer we brought in, because it seems like I bring in one new player every video, is this advanced playmaker, our attacking midfielder, Reese Hayes. He has good long shots, great technique, especially for this level, accompanied with some pretty good vision and flair. So he's actually a very skilled player for the level that we're playing at. And at a young age, hopefully he can develop a little bit. His first touch is also fairly good for this skill level. He played in all 3 of our matches. 6.9 ratings, nothing to write home about, but nothing terrible either. So what was the big difference moving forward? Well, I changed our tactics again and went to the Christmas tree formation, which I'm not a huge fan of, not in terms of its success, obviously, because we've had a lot of success with it, but just sort of the appearance of it. I don't know. The 4 with the 3 central midfielders, there's just no wide play, and I really like the wide play, and it just feels fairly inauthentic in terms of playing, but honestly, at this point, I can't really argue with results. It was really a last-ditch effort. I saw we had a lot of, we were struggling with with going forward with the ball and creating chances. Ryan Salmon was our only really valuable striker, and I figured, why not just play him up by himself, maybe put some more creative forces behind him with Dodds and Hayes. And since we've done that, Hayes and Dodds have been quite a good partnership going forward, with Dodds really coming to his own as a true sort of false 10, as a true second striker, as opposed to a third one sort of leaping forward in sort of the more playmaker role. He's sort of ceded that to Hayes, who's a little more creative, and Dodds has been able to use his shooting ability and his finishing ability. In fact, he actually scored a very good goal against Ringmer in our 2-0 victory at home. Just a free kick from the top of the box, right off the bar and in, and that really separated us in the 55th minute. Maybe we can change the angle on that. I'm not going to mess with that, but we can just jump out. But it was our first free kick goal of the season. It was actually really exciting, considering how often he had just blasted them over the bar. So that was great to see. He's really come into his own over the last few games. So in these tactics, I've been rotating our central players just a little bit. I actually switched Parsons mid-game to an attacking central midfielder. We didn't really need... We had 3 playmakers for our first 2 games. And I think that's one of the reasons why we weren't really able to capitalize on the 1-1 draw. So Hayes is our advanced playmaker, Jennings as our deep line playmaker, Williscroft or Clark or even Callum Woods sits in that more ball-winning midfielder role, and then Parson and Hotchkiss can sort of switch off the attacking center midfielder role. Hotchkiss also has some proficiency as an attacking midfielder, and he can sort of swap in for either Hayes or Dodds depending on who is struggling. Kelvin Sullivan is on our bench as our lone striker off the bench. I haven't had any issues with Salmon. I don't see any going forward. I've brought Houghton down. He's playing for the reserve team just to get some fitness, and hopefully he can be a viable option moving forward. If not, we'll end up replacing him. Carl Stone is back from his injury. He's a much better left back, a little more natural of a left back than Robert Davidson. Callum Norris, that little whiny, that whiner, is still out of here. Neil Lazarus, even though we signed him, he's just sort of sitting. Haven't been using him because when we signed him, I told you he wasn't very good. He's very versatile, but we don't really need it anymore. We've filled out our lineup quite a bit, so I'll probably do a little bit of cleanup here at some point. Ray Keogh is back from his injury, so he may find his way back into the side. Although Danny Clark, despite, again, being very underwhelming, has played pretty well in his 3 appearances since we brought him up to replace Lazarus, who was struggling quite significantly. He's put up a rating above 7, although that was through 3 of our best games that we've played so far. But at 17 years of age, it's good to give the youngsters a run out and sort of see how they will perform over the duration of this fairly long save. So without any further ado, we're going to be playing AFC Bolnore in the Mid-Sussex Junior Cup 3rd round. So today's lineup will feature no changes from the tactics that I just showed you. We have Ryan Salmon up top with Mick Dodds and Reese Hayes sitting behind him in the attacking midfield position. We have a 3-man central midfield of Parsons, Williscroft, and Jennings. In front of our back line of Stone, Kibaki, Taylor, and Danny Clark on the right wing. Greg Robertson has played very well over his 4 games that he's played for us. Yeah, 4 games, grabbing 2 clean sheets in the process since taking over for Aaron Grundy because he was complaining about a lack of football, and he's really performed well. So we're going to give him about a run out for a while, probably until Grundy starts complaining, and then we might make a switch again, or maybe Robertson will be playing so well at that point that I won't care. For the Christmas tree formation, our instructions include shorter passing, exploiting the middle, play wider at the same time because the formation just lends itself to being fairly narrow, and be more expressive while maintaining a flexible team shape but a standard mentality, sort of going away from that control or more assertive mentality. Thanks for someone commenting for mentioning that, and it actually has worked very well for us. So, without any further ado, let's get in game. Kibaki plays it out to Stone. Stone up to Parsons. Here's Hayes. New man for all of you, but has 3 caps so far for us. Hayes plays it up to Salmon. Swarmed. The only problem we have is with being so centralized, sometimes it gets a little too congested in the middle. Depending on how the game goes. Ooh, Salmon with a good chance there. Good save by the keeper. But depending on how it goes, may have to either up the tempo, I guess, so we're moving the ball a little bit quicker and the defense doesn't have time to adjust as quickly. Or just see sort of how they're responding to it and make some adjustments there. But sometimes it does get a little too congested in the middle. Particularly against this team, they're playing a... well, let's actually have a look at their formation for just a second. So here's AFC Bolnore's formation. You can see they're also playing a fairly centralized role. They're basically the same formation as us, except with 3 attacking midfielders and 2 central. So they're just sort of switched. So it's going to be a very congested game in the middle. So we may have to switch it up or just hope that our players win the day or win out and play better than them. Should be a good game. Early on, Bolnore getting into some card trouble here with yellows in the 4th and 6th minute, and we may be getting our own here. Yes, Parsons in the 10th minute. A lot of yellows, not a lot of highlights in the early going. Finally have a highlight here, and Dodds with a free kick well outside the box puts that in. His 5th goal of the season. He's really starting to come into his own, I guess. He's found his form and really making use of his set-piece taking ability. Just right over the wall. Not right into the corner. Keeper can probably do better, but at this level, if you can put it on net with some pace and not right at the keeper, you have a pretty good chance of it finding the back of the net. So that might give us a 1-0 lead heading into halftime. Only 1 or 2 highlights to even glance at, so it's been fairly boring. Thankfully, McDodd's free kick puts us in the lead. I'm going to tell him not to get complacent. Danny Clark doesn't like that. What's with my fullbacks being such wimps all the time? Let's not mess with it anymore. Salmon now up the wing. Poor first touch. Neptune is able to run onto it, but we have a lot of men back. They're getting some possession early on. Haven't done anything with it yet, but we're only 1 goal up, so They can barely... That was was that like a bicycle kick? I'm not sure what happened there. There's some sort of animation down here. So they whip in the corner. Aldred whips it across goal. I think Stone or Hayes just poked that out of bounds. Not a very clean clearance here. Some sustained pressure from Bolnore to start the second half. Oof, Neptune puts it wide. I don't know about that. We've only had 2 shots, both on target. They've had 3. So it's not like we are dominating this match by any means. We've had a bit more of the ball. Wish I showed you the 4-0 victory. That would have been a little more exciting with all the goals. But not too many highlights to speak of thus far. Another chance for Bolnore, puts it wide. And in the 71st minute, I want to sort of evaluate everyone's fitness and see if there's any changes we should make. Maybe Williscroft off for Clark. He's a little more fit. Not as comfortable in the position, but he's done well for us as that ball-winning midfielder. I don't like any of our other options off the bench. May bring Hotchkiss on for Parsons in a few minutes. Another sub to sort of stall as we try and get out of this one. Hotchkiss in for Parsons. Moving forward. Only 8 shots combined. This has been a very boring match. With us holding much of the possession. And Kabaki gives away a penalty. I didn't even see that. Just as I was switching us to a defensive mentality. Right down the middle. Robertson jumps out of the way. Can't blame the goalkeeping. It's a penalty. If you give away a penalty, you have to honestly expect you're giving away a goal. Neptune just taps it right down the middle. Robertson dives out of the way. And I can't say they didn't deserve that goal. They haven't manufactured a ton of chances, but all the highlights we've seen have been in their favor. So let's stay with... Let's not overreact. Let's go to countering, because we do need to score. I'm not sure if this cup deals with replays or if we go to extra time. Here goes Salmon with some pace. He's pretty isolated out there, though. Puts the ball in. Salmon over to Hotchkiss. Hotchkiss, shot's blocked. It's a good chance there. Way to hold up the ball, Salmon. As a lone poacher up front. Can be isolated up there, but I don't want to change his role. Maybe he'd serve better as a different role, but his passing ability is not all that great. He's good at just running onto the ball and scoring. Bolnore comes forward. They have about 30 seconds to play with here. It'd be really unfortunate to concede here. Clark wins the ball. Plays it forward to Hotchkiss. Hotchkiss gives it away right in the middle. Bolnore can launch one final attack. Aldred. Hotchkiss wins the ball back. Stone clears the ball. And that will do 90 minutes. And we do go to extra time, so... excuse me. We need to sort of turn things around, though. There's been a significant amount of fouls thus far. 14 for Bolnore, 11 for us. A lot of yellow cards. You can just take a look here. 6 for them, 3 for us. Jennings is looking very tired. I don't know if we have... I guess we can bring in Callum Woods as our playmaker there. The real struggle is, in terms of physicals, a lot of these players, they might have some pace, but they don't really have strength or stamina, particularly stamina. I think the highest stamina I've seen for our team is 11. So a lot of these players may start to struggle, particularly in the second half of extra time. So that may be a concern. Although I suspect it's a similar situation for Bolnore, so that certainly won't be an excuse if we fall here. But they may have better physicals. They are a team that's, I think, 3 tiers above us. I think they're from the 6th division. Salmon all by himself. Should play it out wide to Stone. Stone's probably just going to lop this forward. Nope, plays it in the middle to Hayes. Hayes over to Jennings. Still hasn't been subbed off yet. Dodds just gives it away. Aldred's been cropping up all over the field. He's been doing really well in the center of the pitch. Neptune up the sideline. Stone needs to cover him. Plays a good tackle there. Into the middle to Clark. Kabaki clears it away. Good play in the box there. Don't want to mess around. Dodds and Reese are exhausted at the front. I'm not sure who is our best penalty kick takers. Probably Dodds, but he's so tired. I don't know how that'll affect his concentration and everything else. Robertson clears that up. 6 minutes to go. Clark plays it into Woods. Woods Oh, just no one can get on the end of that. That was right through the box. Just on a platter. Stone over to Hotchkiss. Hotchkiss into Hayes. Hayes is just not doing much. I can't fault, like, he's very tired. Like, I don't know if I've seen too many players down into the 40s before. So I can't expect much from them. At least they're not my defenders. A little more concerning. Taylor scrambles it forward. Salmon all by himself here. Some attackers come up, but he just tries to snatch one. Just, I can't explain that. All right, I can't explain that decision making. Can't explain it. And we're going to penalties. So Robertson, yeah, our keeper, apparently is our best penalty kick taker. Look at these penalty numbers. Oh, goodness. Dodds, Hayes, we'll try. Oh, my goodness. I probably shouldn't have subbed off all those guys. Clark, and then Salmon. We're just going to go in order. I don't even know why I had to make this list. We'll just go in order. Neptune already scored one. Scores another. Robertson dives the other way. Puts it pretty much down the middle once again. Robertson ready to take his. Into the back of the net. Good. Cool and calmly. Brought us back even. Let's see if Roberts can save. Or Robertson can save Roberts. Good save. And that gives us a chance here. Just takes one mistake. Here's McDodds. He's already scored once. Puts it in the back of the net. Real tired, but he's got both of our... He's got our earlier goal. Ardley. He's already saved one. If our shooters do their jobs, we should be victorious here. Hayes strikes that with some venom there. Not placing it at all, just blasted into the back of the net. This isn't really our best angle for this. Let's go behind the goal. Sorry for that. And that's in the back of the net from Osler. Darren Clark can really put them on the back burner. Oh, that's just sitting on the line. Aldridge's probably been their best player today. Off the bar. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Salmon. You can win this. Salmon can win this. And we've won. On to the quarterfinals of the Mid-Sussex Junior Cup. I don't know how excited I'm going to be when we get to sort of meaningful trophies near the end of the season, but it's just good to win anything. In the shootout, you always get excited. So I'll just calmly say it was a good win. Didn't seem to be listening. I don't care. As long as no one's upset, let's just move on from that one. McDodds, obviously, our man of the match. No one else was overly impressive. Honestly, it was a fairly disappointing performance. Really bogged down by all the fouls and cards, but just couldn't break them down. Not overly... I said this right at the beginning of the match, considering how congested the center of the pitch was with, 10 midfielders, basically. Sort of all fighting over that space. So maybe I should have made an adjustment, but I was sort of worried then we would get overrun in the middle and concede. So I guess in the end it worked out. It worked out for us and we won in penalties. But we'll just jump ahead and see who our quarterfinal draw opponent will be, and then we'll wrap this one up. So before we get to the cup draw for the quarterfinal, I figured I hadn't shown you the table. I went over the 3 results, but I hadn't shown you the table yet. So after our 2 wins and our draw, we're actually looking pretty good. We have played 1 extra game compared to a lot of the other mid-table teams, but if some results go our way and we can continue our good form, we should continue our shot towards the top 2, which is where we need to be. Obviously, winning the division would be nice, but there's no real incentive to do so. I guess just getting promoted is the main thing that we want to achieve this season. Stones still hasn't lost through 10 matches, so they may be tough to catch, but we are playing West Hoathly next, so that should be a win for us, I would hope. And then Stones, and then Heath Rangers. So we have 1 very winnable match, and then 2 very important matches coming up ahead of us. So as for the cup draw, we're into the quarterfinals. Couple teams that we recognize here. Some games still to be played. So AFC Uckfield, Scanes Hill, Nutley, and we will be facing Nutley. Nutley are a 7th Division team. They don't have a whole lot of players. How are they doing in the... Well, they are bottom of the table. So hopefully we can move on to the semifinals, and that would be nice. And then continue our movement going forward. So we don't have the actual game listed yet. So let's see if we can figure out when that game is going to be played. So the scheduling just keeps working out for us. So we have 3 league matches before the Junior Cup quarterfinal against Nutley. So once again, I'll be playing 3 of our league matches off screen and then coming back for the Junior Cup. Obviously, these 2 games are important in terms of our performance in the league, but I'm wanting to get through the season as quickly as possible. So if I can play these 3 off screen and then just keep to this cup, especially since we're in the quarterfinals, we may actually be hoisting some silverware this year. It'll move this season along a little bit quicker, and we can continue our rise, our hopeful rise, through the 22 tiers of English football. So if you have any comments or requests or advice or anything else to sort of help me along or try and improve this video series, please leave it in a comment below. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and I will speak to you next time.